Now by Bushra Khaldi from Oxfam, who's in Ramallah in the West Bank. Morning to you. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time to talk to us this morning. Tell us about the work that you're engaged with and the situation, the circumstances you are having to carry out that work in at the moment.
Good morning, and thank you for having me, first of all. I mean, it's been incredibly difficult circumstances. As the previous report stated, what colleagues are saying, what my family is saying in Gaza is that it's never been this bad. They have lived through almost 6 escalations, and they live under blockade, which means that they cannot leave, they can't seek education out, even before this current escalation. As also the report said, there's no water, there's no electricity, there's no fuel, supplies are dwindling. We're unable to get through to them via WhatsApp or via 3G because internet lines are down. The situation is really dire, and the decision yesterday of the Prime Minister to collectively punish an entire population is cruel, and we need to think about the humanitarian impact this has on civilians. I've been on call to colleagues and my in-laws, and they've said that my nephews are terrified and live in complete terror. All that they've known in their very young lives is a blockade and wars. They won't go anywhere without their mother near them, even inside their own home. The families sleep all together, and they've told me that this way, if they die together. And I'm having to, of course, steer an organization in terms of policy position and inform our colleagues abroad about what's happening on the ground. There's really nowhere to flee in Gaza. Very few already are crammed in very few shelters. There's no money to go through Egypt, and crossings allowing materials to Israel have been closed. It's being bombarded from the air, from the land, from the sea, and really it's deja vu for Gazans. And, we need to ensure that this ends once and for all, and everybody's exhausted, including me, on calls, waking up every 2 hours to just check, are you guys alive? Okay. Switch the phone off, go back to sleep for 2 hours, and doing these interviews because, we also need to have civilians be heard. Colleagues yesterday sent us a horrifying voice note of Gazans hiding in their basements and entire buildings collapsing on them, with some of them alive, calling and crying for help at the top of their lungs under the rubble, and medical teams unable to access them because of the level of damage and destruction in the streets. My friend yesterday, she lost her auntie who was killed with all her children in the house by Israeli airstrikes. She was already internally displaced and lives in one of the poorest refugee camps of Gaza. This is really the situation right now and what I've heard in the last 24 hours.
And can you tell me, what is Oxfam able to do in this situation?
I mean, it's virtually impossible to reach affected communities at the moment, as you have seen from the shocking images that we have all seen across the internet and the news. The bombardment has been near constant. Yesterday was a very heavy day. So we are just trying to ensure that our staff are safe, but we've already know that several of them have had to relocate. Sometimes it's hard to decide where to relocate because the bombing has not really been concentrated to a specific area. It's been really just all across Gaza. So we're monitoring the situation. We are discussing, of course, sharing as much information with our colleagues that live in different capitals. And we are assessing the situation so that we are ready once there are safe zones created for assisting affected populations as a matter of urgency.
Do you have any indication how long you might have to wait for that to happen?
I mean, I hope what I heard on Saturday with colleagues that were saying that this is a story of 4 to 6 weeks, potentially longer. I really hope that this is not true. I really hope that, all parties restraint, a ceasefire happens, that, both sides support any calls for the provision of humanitarian corridors or safe zones, and so that we can operate and provide urgent relief services as a matter of urgency and immediately.
Bushra Khaldi, thank you very much indeed for talking to us this morning. That's Bushra Khaldi from Oxfam, from
Thank you for having me.
in the West Bank. Thank you.